definitely one of my favorites too. And yeah, it's coming up. Kong says, like, subscribe, and support, or it's Skull Island for your Wi-Fi. As a dad, I'm entitled to dad jokes. Coming up next, Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. I give this movie 4.5 stars out of 5. Alright, so I'm not going to dwell too much on the human element. Again, I think the human element is crucial to these movies, but I'm just going to say this regarding the human characters in this. Folks, if you're ever looking for a role model, if you're ever looking for someone to really look up to, look no further than Trapper. Trapper is my boy. He is a godsend. I'm really happy that he's going to come back in future Monsterverse related films. And I just want to say Dan Stevens, who plays him, is a phenomenal actor. He's a great human being. You should check him out. I loved him in FX's Legion, but he's also in other projects. He's one of a kind. But yes, I love me Trapper. Trapper is the way every scene, like, he just steals the show. Another reason why I absolutely love this movie is it brings Mothra back, and in a big, profound way. Oh man, there's so much to cover here, but like yes. I loved how in this movie both Godzilla and Kong kind of have their own subplots, their own unique story arcs. I'm going to talk about Godzilla first, but I will say Kong, his story arc mainly involved like Suko and Shimo. Likewise, Godzilla, his story comes together with Mothra as well. Mothra becomes kind of like the great uniter. I love this shot here in Egypt. Godzilla and Kong just threw down. They had a rematch. It looks like Kong, due to some beast augmentations, was, holding his own. But ultimately, it looked like Godzilla was just about to, become the sole face of the Monsterverse, if you understand my meaning. But then Mothra intervenes. It's because Gia has become, her successor. She's kind of like the Shobijin, Mothra's fairies, all in one. And I love this shot of how they come together. Godzilla, of course, absolutely loves Mothra in the Monsterverse. They have a very close relationship. And it's nice to see Mothra return. I love the design for her in this. And yeah, I also do love how Godzilla undergoes a number of different transformations in this movie as well. Like in this shot, he just drained a nuclear power plant because he senses something is going on. Something's about to go down, so he needs to juice up. But, oh man, he looks so scary in this shot. And indeed, throughout this early parts of this movie, I kind of feel like, man, I would have loved to have seen an entire Godzilla solo film with this sort of aesthetic, because Godzilla is pretty terrifying here. I'd be remiss not to mention Evolved Godzilla, or Godzilla Rosé. This design has grown on me. I love it. I think it's great. I really do like what they did with Evolved Godzilla in this. I love the pink. I love Godzilla's ferocity. I love the fact that he's yoked. He gets so juiced up, and he goes from, in previous films he's like this steadfast protector of the world, maintaining balance, but in this movie he's pissed off. He's all about that power. So much has happened in like the last decade that he's just basically like, you know what? All right, fine. You know what? I'm not gonna be the good guy. I'm gonna be the one that calls the shots. And he's just, I don't blame him. I just love how Godzilla has literally become kind of like the well, what's the like? He's like the nuclear equivalent to, well, he's like a WMD but for Titans. Like he's your guy. Like, oh, you're in a jam. The world is in danger. Call Godzilla. He's. I just love just how unmistakably badass he is in this movie, and yeah, I do like the evolved Godzilla design. I like the fact that he's just so in your face, so like, I'm OP. I'm not ashamed to admit it. The moment you have his backing, it's not a. The question isn't if you're gonna win; it's when. And obviously, I love the fact that he later turns the Coliseum into his own little, his personal mattress. It's great. Next, we have Kong. Kong, I mentioned he's the most tragic character in all of the Monsterverse. I think he is the soul, the face, or as some of you have mentioned, the golden child of the Monsterverse. Absolutely true. But, God, I just take for a second. I love the expressions on this guy. It's part of the reason why it was wise to make him the face of the Monsterverse. I mean, who has not made that face? But one thing that I love that they do with his character here is that he eventually discovers there are other Kongs in the world, and I think it's great that Kong, that they did this for him as a character, because it really helped him grow. You know, I like the fact that he meets Zuko, and honestly, when we first heard that there was going to be a baby Kong, I kind of rolled my eyes. I thought, oh man, please don't be lame. Please don't be lame. Oh, there are so many ways this could go bad. You know, this could end very poorly. But no, Zuko is made for a really great addition to the story. I mean, Zuko kind of has his own. I really liked how at first he's kind of like this. He's a little shit, man. Like, he tries to get Kong killed a couple times, but when you discover that Zuko fears for his life, he's been abused by a certain antagonist we will touch upon very shortly, you kind of get why Zuko is the way he is. But seeing how Kong treats him, how Kong goes from not only being a potential foil, to a protector, big brother, to eventually kind of like becoming like a surrogate father for Zuko, was really, I mean, I love how this movie has like an entire like 10-minute sequence of Kong and Zuko, dialogue free. This is kind of the source of the sort of the mindset that we could get like an entire movie of just these monsters. And while I don't think an entire movie of just Godzilla doesn't really work, one with Kong you can make a better case for, due to the fact that he's far more relatable. So, audiences can empathize more with him. But the fact that they have entire sequences in this movie of Kong, Zuko, dialogue free, is just, it's truly a great feat in storytelling. Also, Kong getting the Beast Glove, I mean, I get it, it's all about selling that merch, but man, yeah, I mean, just look at Kong, man. This is pretty awesome. It's pretty badass. I love the fact, I kind of do wish we got to see more Kong dual wielding the Beast Glove and the Battle Axe. But then, I feel like we're going to get that in future installments anyway. But overall, you know what? I really do love how Kong and Zuko come together. And while I'm going to touch upon more my girl Shimo here in just a sec, I absolutely love the sense of closure, how Kong went from being, again, like a tragic orphan to becoming the new king of Hollow Earth, to becoming King Kong, and how he unites his people. It's great stuff. And also Kong being instrumental in breaking freeing Shimo from her chains. It kind of speaks well to the King Kong character, because Kong wasn't, in the Monsterverse, Kong is like a superhero in many respects. I've compared him to Batman already. He is like a superhero. He is the Monsterverse equivalent to that, to a Monsterverse equivalent to the Avengers. But he hasn't always been like this. Throughout Kong's entire history, he's more of that tragic monster. For many of his movies in the past, he was in chains. Like literally, humans came to Skull Island and took him back to their human civilization, to civilized society, but put him in chains, and eventually he this would lead to his untimely demise. So it's a nice change of pace to see Kong go from that to actually liberating others, and it's great. Shimo, I love Shimo. What's there not to like about this Titan? All I can say is I'm really hoping they don't kill her off. I will be super pissed if in Godzilla Kong Supernova that, to try and make the new big upcoming evil Titan, badass, or look how strong this new Titan is, we're gonna have him kill Shimo. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare. I will riot. What a great, fantastic design, too. Everything about this character is just so cool. I love me Shimo. But I gotta say, the standout for me in this entire movie is the antagonist, Scar King. This guy. Just look how he's slouched. This guy... Before, I would have maybe argued that Titans like King Ghidorah, Kamazotz, they're evil, yeah, but I don't think they're evil like how humans are evil. And I would maybe say King Ghidorah is still more like a force. He's more like an embodiment of chaos as opposed to being truly evil, although I would still say he is. Scar King is like a psychopath. This guy just feeds off of suffering. And I gotta share this meme, of course. This I'm sure so many of you are familiar with. But I think what I like about this is in this entire introduction, we learn everything we need to know about Scar King. First, we find out he's the mad king of this subterranean society where so many of Kong's people are like they're slaves, and they're pretty much not seen as their own unique individuals. They're seen as a means to an end for Scar King. He sees them more as tools, not living beings to love, to foster. He's also heavily implied to be Zuko's biological father, but he could care less. And of course, when he's introduced here, the first thing he tries to do after getting sized up by Kong here is that he tries to make fun of Kong. Okay, well, Kong, maybe I can't beat him in a fight, so what I'm going to do is I'm trying to intimidate him in another way. I'm going to try and humiliate him, make everyone laugh at him. And then later on, he gets so pissed off at Zuko, realizing Zuko failed in his mission, that he begins to threaten him. And then Zuko's protector friend comes over, and for a second there, this is one of my favorite shots right here, because Scar King stands up and he has this truly demonic look. At first, he seems to be showing mercy, but we know he's taking sadistic joy in the fact that here's one of his subjects groveling, begging for him to show mercy, and he just gets off it. He derives so much enjoyment from it. This guy feeds off of power. And of course, he would later kick that poor Kong into the lava and further traumatize Zuko. I mean, just look at this guy. Look at him. He is such a great villain. I gotta be real with you guys. I kind of don't like the fact that they killed him. I really don't. I still to this. I get why they did in this story. It was Scar King received his just comeuppance. I'm happy that he did, because I loved to hate him, but I also feel like Scar King could have made for a great multi-picture like arc of villainy. So I do wish that we saw more of him, but it makes sense within the context of the story they were telling. So I'm hoping in the future we get maybe looking maybe 3-5 years down the line, I make another ranking the Monsterverse segment, and maybe Godzilla willing, we get a Scar King origin graphic novel. That would be pretty awesome. This is another great shot. I mean, the entire, I guess, the battle in Rio de Janeiro, you could consider to be its own kind of thing, but I feel like it's just a continuation of this massive conflict in the Hollow Earth, where the monsters, as soon as they clash, they fight in a zero gravity field, and it's so cool. It's just, oh man, it's just so great. I love this movie. And of course, I never thought I'd see the day where we see Godzilla, Kong, and Mothra sharing the same screen. So yeah, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. It's absolutely one of my favorite, not just Monsterverse films, but just one of my favorite Godzilla films, period. A couple things that I didn't really like about it. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on the soundtrack. I'm going to be talking about that more in the next couple Monsterverse films on my ranking list. But yeah, I'm not really a big fan of Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire's soundtrack. Nothing personal against the composer, of course. It just didn't work for me. And there are parts and places where I think, like, either, regarding Adam Wingard's involvement. I mean, he directed Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. I do feel like there are some certain scenes that maybe should have been cut. I do think there are certain characters that should have received a bit more of an expanded role, or I would have done it differently. We're going to see, of course, I guess if I were to elaborate more about what I mean here before we move on, because, geez, it's getting late and I still have a lot more to do. I will just say that I would have done more with Kyle Chandler's character and Millie Bobby Brown's character, respectively. But for now, it is what it is, right?